introduce my staff. These guys done a tremendous job with our program. So I'd like you guys to walk up front for me. So you guys walk up here. Give them a hand. In my opinion, and you two walk up. He's going to be coach here in a couple of years. These guys have worked their tails off for the University of South Alabama football program on the road tirelessly, going into prospects' homes and the schools, talking to cousins, talking to uncles, talking to preachers, and everything they can do to get a kid to come here to the University of South Alabama. They did a tremendous job this year. They're away from their families and spent time on the road. And what I'd like to do, too, if I get the wives to stand up, I know most of them in this area right over here, if y'all give them a hand. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Don't sit down. I can't say enough about my staff, what they've done. And to me, in my opinion, relationships is what it's all about. And we've got great facilities, but if a coach doesn't go out there and get a good relationship with that player and make him feel comfortable about coming here, they're not going to come. And so I really want to thank those guys. Secondly, there's a group of people, anytime we have our recruiting weekends, our secretaries, our strength staff, our training staff, equipment staff, and GAs and JAGettes, when they come in for a weekend here at Mobile, they all love it. I tell you, I've never had a kid that's come to Mobile and not had a great visit. And a lot of that's due to the people we have with us in this city and this university. So I really want to thank those people as well. Y'all give them a hand. And our administration, we've talked about that a lot. I've talked about President Moulton a lot and Joel Erdman, and they are committed to making this football program great. And that's, if you don't have that, then you're not going to be successful. And I want to thank those guys as well. A lot of people ask about this class, why we're getting better players. Number one thing being out there on the road that I can see is a Division I schedule. When our guys and we can walk up and say, we're playing Mississippi State, we're playing NC State, we're playing Troy, we're playing Hawaii, we're playing Tennessee, we're playing LSU down the road, we're playing Oklahoma State, we're playing Ole Miss, we're playing Georgia. All those kind of things, also in those eyebrows start getting a little higher on their forehead, because it is not the South Alabama that we're looking at the couple of years before that, where, we had a process of trying to become a Division I program. We're doing it fast, doing it extremely fast. The bottom line is to sell a Division I schedule, to sell a Division I football program and a Division I school, that's really turned the corner for us out there. I can't tell you how many kids we're in battles with now. We're beating North Carolina, we're beating North Carolina State, we're beating Louisville, we're beating Southern Miss on players, and so that's because of where we are. And so that's one reason. The second thing is commitment level, like I talked about, the administration here. They have committed to making this thing great, and that's the second reason. And another thing is that people are just excited about where we're going. They understand we're growing and we're young and we've got things we've got to go through and all that. Being a part of that, I think these players are still, even though it's not the first year, first year was so exciting starting the program, but we're still kind of brand new. We're first year in the Sun Belt, first year playing SEC competition, all that. So, there's a lot of things that are going to be the first time that they'll be able to experience. The first Division I win, the first bowl game, all those kind of things that are coming up here in the next few years. They see that. I think they're excited about it. And the last thing is City of Mobile. I tell you, when we bring, just like I mentioned earlier, we bring kids to this town. They just have a great time. We keep them at the Battle House, and they, that's, of course, to me, that's the best hotel in the state of Alabama. And then we get all the nice restaurants around town, bring them to this campus. So there's a few things that we have. That's the difference, in my opinion, in bringing these great players here, student athletes. People ask me about the needs, and every year we have needs. Offensive line was definitely a need for us. We had some good guys that came in as junior college players. Really did a great job of leading those guys the last 3 years and giving us some older guys in our program that helped us in the early years. But we've lost a good bit of them, and so we were at 7 scholarships down at offensive line, so we needed to give 7 scholarships, and we did that. We had 5 high school kids, 1 transfer from Kentucky, and another junior college kid in that class with an offensive lineman. Defensive back was another area. We signed 9, I think, defensive backs, and so we feel like we've got some depth now. We look at defense, and Bill and I were talking about it the other day, and we feel like we got too deep finally. You know, it's one of those deals where before where you get one guy hurt, you're scared to death because you have maybe a walk-on coming in or whatever. There's not enough depth to replace those guys. But now we've got depth finally for the first time. We feel like we got some quality depth there. And we signed a quarterback, we signed a tight end, we signed some other guys. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But bottom line was the offensive line, secondary was the two major concerns. It seemed like I say that every year. I know we said that last year was the same thing, but we're trying to get those guys, and you can't have enough of those guys and have a chance to win. And so I guess at this point, do we want to take questions after or right now? Travis, did you want to do this after the video? Or?
After the video.
Okay.
Say see the
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I want to go over. What I want to do is talk about each player a little bit. And then, again, I'm not going to talk very long. I just want to talk about 10 seconds on each player and kind of go through offensive and defense and kind of show you. And some of that's on your list there that you have. And some of it, I've kind of condensed some of it. But at quarterback, we got a transfer from Alcorn State, Brandon Bridge, who came from Canada. Really, really good athlete. If y'all want to see a treat, just click on YouTube and click on Brandon Bridge's name. He's a very good athlete, about 6'5", 215 pounds, really good kid, and we think he's got a chance. Grant Powell, a kid out of Memphis, 6'2", about 205, just a really good player. That offers from UAB, Memphis, Arkansas State. Real athletic and can throw the football. He'll be a true freshman this year. On the offensive line, we've got a really good player out of Demopolis named Stephen Foster, 6'3", 305. He was the 48th ranked guard in the nation by ESPN. And the next offensive line we got is Joseph Selpo. We kind of fought to the end with Joseph and really didn't know the last day everything was good, but he's good. And he's a 6'1", 285. He's the #1 ranked center in Georgia and the number 12 ranked center in the country. So a really good player, real hard-nosed. Had offers, Syracuse, La Tech, Southern Miss, UAB, a lot of people. And the next guy, Clay Matchin, 6'4", 305. You see where we're going with the size thing, 6'4", 305. Finally signing some big guys. You know, we kind of had to get a couple small guys earlier because we couldn't find those big guys that were good enough in the last couple of years. But now, because like it's the things I mentioned earlier, we're getting those guys. Clay Matchin, 6'4", 305, top-rated center in Alabama. He actually played tackle, but they have projected him as a center. We're not going to play him as a center, but we're going to play him at tackle. I think he's a really good player. He was the 13th ranked center in the country. He had UAB, Memphis, Georgia Tech, and other people. Steve McKenzie, another offensive lineman out of Stevenson High School in Georgia, 6'1", 310. He was a 6th rated guard in Georgia, the 47th in the country. And you know, all those numbers don't really mean a lot, but it does. They are good players. I mean, whether they're 12th or whether they're 24th or whatever, they're good football players. And that's kind of the reason I mentioned some of these. Another lineman out of Hoover High School. Finally signed a kid out of Hoover. I know Ken Barefield's here. He came here, walked on, and then earned a scholarship. We finally signed one out of Hoover. Daniel Aust, 6'2", 270, really athletic guy. We feel like he's going to put on 20, 25 pounds, be close to 295. Extremely good feet, and feel good about him. James Elliott, kid transfer from Kentucky. He's 6'3", 305. We offered him out of high school. He went to Kentucky. And anyway, ended up with us, and he's in school enrolled right now. He probably won't be eligible for a year, but we'll have him 3 years after that. We'll kind of see how that goes. Extremely good player. He was a second ranked guard in Florida when he came out last year, and the 20th ranked guard in the country when he came out. Had offers from Michigan, South Florida, Texas Tech, Kansas, Louisville, Maryland, Illinois, and all those people. So very good football player. The last lineman is Perry Micklejohn. Came out of junior college out of El Camino, 6'3", 315. Signed with Central Florida out of high school. Really good player, transferred out there, and we're getting him back. And we feel really good about his athleticism and coming in here and really making an impact. At tight end, we signed Wes Saxon. He is actually out of Hueytown High School and went to Itawamba for a year. Was a qualifier late. Went in Itawamba for a year. Extremely good athlete. Really played receiver in high school. He's about 6'4". Robert, where you at? Is he about 6'4"?
Yeah, 6'4".
6'4", 225, 230. Extremely athletic. And actually, Robert that signed him at Southern Miss, or committed him at Southern Miss, and when Robert came over to be our offensive coordinator, he got him to commit here, so that was a real big get for us right there. Really good player, good athleticism. Paul Kyles out of Viger High School is another tight end. He's 6'3", 255, and really good player, physical guy. He was number 3 tight end in the state and number 60 in the nation at tight end position. That offers for Tennessee, Troy, and Memphis. And then wide receiver, we got Cameron Broadnax. He's 6'2". We needed another big receiver. We got a couple of big guys, but we got a bunch of 5'10" guys that are fast and can run, but we need another big guy outside. And Cameron Broadnax, to me, is an underrated player that just got overlooked a little bit. 6'2", 180, 185, and he's a really good player. Great ball skills and really good player, so we're excited about getting him. We have a bunch of receivers, so we didn't go after many receivers. We've got a bunch of junior receivers. Now next year we'll probably have to start signing some guys to replace those guys when they leave, but right now we only signed 1 this year. We got a kicker, Aline Sunanen, who Tommy Perry was recruiting him down in Florida, and he had the best meal of his life down there, right? It's great Indian food that I don't know all the spices that go in that stuff, but unbelievable food down there. But he can kick the ball through the goalpost. I care less what he eats, but he's really good. Won two games late in the game, a 49-yarder and I think a 44-yarder. Seconds run off the clock. Cool character. We had him in camp, and Tommy really liked him, and so we got him. Did a good job recruiting him. So I think he's going to make a difference on our team with a kicking standpoint. On defense, out of Prattville High School, of course, Bill signed about 3 of these guys out of Prattville, and Terrence Jones, in my opinion, is one of the best defensive linemen around. He's a little bit short, he's 6'1", probably 285, I guess 280, 285. Just a really good football player. I guess some of you guys that get on the internet now, if you just type his name in, I'm telling you, he is a football player. And so we're really excited about him. He had Arkansas State, Memphis, Northern Illinois, some other people. Really good inside guy. Linebackers, we signed about 4 linebackers inside and outside. Pat Moore, who's already enrolled, came from Northeast Mississippi Junior College. He's 6'4", about 240. Coach Turner, 245, right in there. Really good pass. One of the things we felt like we needed defensive end was pass rushing guys. We got some strong guys that can play the run, but we felt like, in the league we're getting ready to go into, it's a spread league, a lot of throwing, a lot of shotgun stuff, and so we need some edge pass rush guys. We feel like he really can do that. From Prattville High School again, Jay Minor, 6'1", about 240. Defensive end. He was ranked 4th in the state. Had offers from Arkansas State, UAB, Memphis, Northern Illinois, and some others. A really good football player, real strong defensive end, and a really good kid as well. Out of how do you pronounce that, Brian? Punta Gorda, Florida. Punta Gorda, Florida. Davion Stewart's. He was a 7th-ranked safety in Florida, 47th nationally. Linebacker, 47 nationally, 4.4 speed, really good speed, and I tell you, he's a wrestler that I think he'll be state champion. I think he's only lost 1 match, is that right, this year, and they expect him to be state champion in wrestling. He's about 220 pounds. I mean, a really good football player, and Coach Brandon really liked him on film, and we got him committed this summer. Rich James, another from Bakersfield Community College in California, 6'4", 225. It was so funny, he came out for a recruiting visit, I guess about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and he was 212 and real thin, and so he said, boy, you got to start eating. So Coach Clark told you got to eat, and all advice saying you got to eat. And we called him up, he said, weighed 226 a week later. I said, boy, what you been eating? He said, 14 pounds in about a week and a half, So they don't feed him. He don't have a meal ticket out there. It's reason so thin. Seriously, he goes there and they don't have a meal plan for him. They're just playing football and they're just eating whatever they can eat, bologna sandwiches and all that. So once we get him here, we feel like he's going to be a great pass rush guy, and we'll put on about 30 pounds on him when he gets here. Going to the defensive backs. Mike Dumas out of Cape Coral, Florida. He's 6'1", 180. Had offers from North Carolina State, Vanderbilt, Iowa State, Maryland, and many others. I could reel off about 10 more. I'm going to do that because of time. But Mike Dumas is a great safety, a really good player, great kid, great personality, lights up the room when he walks in. You know, he's just one of those guys that everybody's going to follow. And I think we're going to have a great one in him. Bobo Staples, Brian Vincent signed him out of Valley High School. Safety 6'1", 190 at Kentucky, Illinois, UAB, Marshall, Middle Tennessee, first team All-State. Very good box player. What I mean by box player, comes down and makes tackles in the box, and also has range back there at safety. We're really excited about him. LaWanda Bartlehaven was a corner, smaller corner, 5'8", 165. If you look at his highlight film, he's returning kicks for touchdowns and interceptions for touchdowns, and a little smaller guy, but he can really go. And we're really excited about him. He's done a great job, and I like him a lot. I think he's going to make some big plays for us. He had Arkansas State, Memphis, Rice, and some others. Caleb Autry out of Foley High School, 5'8", 165, a true cover corner, smaller guy, but can really, really run. Auburn had him on the board late, really wanted to offer him late, did not, and we kind of got him, and so they were really, you know, the last couple of weeks toying whether to offer him or not. We ended up getting him, and he's not a physical guy, but he's a cover guy. He's one of the guys you put to the field and say, cover that guy, and he's going to be covered. So he's a real good athlete. So Cervega Steele from here in town at LaFleur High School had 16 interceptions, 7 for touchdowns, 7 interception returns for touchdowns. That's more than most receivers or running backs get. You know, that's pretty good. And he had several offers, and a real good athlete. We had him in camp and really liked him, and were able to sign him. Charles Watson, 6'1", 195, played safety at Mississippi Gulf Coast. We like him at corner because we have so many needs at corner right now, but he can play both. Very physical, tall, long guy that can cover and support on the run, and so we feel great about him. And love his emotion in games. You know, Bill watched him play, and you know, really, one of the guys that gets into the game. And thank you. Does my throat sound dry or something? Thank you. Been yelling at those players in the morning workouts, a little scratchy. So Charles Watson is a good player, very good player, very versatile guy. Tyrell Pearson is another smaller corner, and probably the best. Coach Turner, they said he's the best corner in that league out there. Alabama signed the second best one. We got the first best one. That's the way it worked. You know, but Tyrell's a really good player. He's real cat-like back there. Has great instincts, breaks on the ball, and makes a lot of plays. And so we feel good about him. And once he came down for our visit, this personality, you know, he's loving, and he's going to fit great around our players and our staff. Darius Morrow, out of Hutchinson Junior College out of Kansas, another real fast guy, smaller guy, 5'10", 170. You know, great ball skills, can turn and run, and got hips, and so you see we're trying to find some guys that can cover those receivers in this league. We're getting ready to go in because you got to have guys to do that, to do what you want to up front. And then Anthony Harris is the last one, I think, without hoping to leave anybody out. But Anthony Harris from El Camino Community College, 6'1", 175. You know, kind of a bigger boundary corner guy that can support the run. Also has the ability to cover as well. So we feel good about him. So we really answered some needs. I feel good about every player, and you never know. You never know till you get them here. I mean, you watch film, you evaluate them, and you just never know about their heart sometimes and things. And I feel good about them, but you just never know till they get here. Are they going to stick with it? And going gets tough. In 2 days, are they pouting? Are they ready to practice? You know, those kind of things that help us win. And so we'll find out as we go. But we feel good about this class. And you know, again, I want to thank my coaches and everybody involved. But this did a great job. You know, we've got a good class. We're ready for Division I. Ready to go into Sun Belt. Great challenges ahead for us, and we know that. But you know what? There's a different look about our coaching staff. There's a different look about our players right now because they understand what they get ready to step into. They understand that. And I think as a competitor, you know, anybody as a competitor likes challenges. And so I think our players understand that. So from day one, that we've had them out running and doing some conditioning drills, it's been great. To me, it's stepped up another couple notches, in my opinion, to what, you know, the level of effort and the want to, they got the look in their eyes, they understand that. So we're excited about next season as well. So at this point, you want to start the video and then questions after, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.